This is TWiT.
I may be a little late to the game on this one, but hey, what can I say? I've been using the Samsung Galaxy S9 for, I don't know, probably 3 weeks now. I made it through the majority of my vacation, which, you know, I was gone for 10 days on that vacation, using the Samsung Galaxy S9 as my kind of daily driver, though I did bring my Pixel 2 XL, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. You may already guess, but when you're on vacation, you take lots of pictures. I'll get to that in a second. But the Samsung Galaxy S9, just some quick thoughts on this if you haven't already kind of made your decision, because it's been out a little while now. But obviously the design, I feel like, is super familiar at this point. It's probably the ethos of why change something that works, you know, that isn't broken. Thankfully, they did change the fingerprint sensor, and that really is, you know, changes how you integrate with the device, how you operate the device on a daily basis. Now, you may also remember that on the S9 series, Samsung added the dual kind of like face iris unlock cooperative sort of security system. It's kind of complicated. It's not using both at the same time, but it uses one, and if it can't, then it falls back onto the other, which I found to be okay in daily use, but it kind of slow. And so I ended up activating the fingerprint sensor on the back, and instead of like waiting for that system to do things magically, I just do what I'm very used to, which is tapping my finger on the back, and it unlocks pretty quickly. So, you know, I'd say maybe there's some work to be done on the speed of the dual face iris unlock thingy, to maybe speed that up. And I like where the fingerprint sensor is now. The stereo speakers, plenty loud. As you may remember, my stereo in my car is broken, so if I want to listen to any podcasts or whatever, I have to do it either with my phone or with one of those earphones, those Bluetooth earphones, which I've been using lately. We'll talk about that later. And so I have to just turn up the speakers at full blast, and on this phone, you get a nice loud sound out of it, which I appreciate anyways. 4 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 845, so it's got a lot of speed under here. I feel like it runs about as smoothly as you've come to expect from Samsung at this point. This is one of their flagships, and if it didn't run fast and smooth because it's using the latest and greatest processors, it would be kind of strange if that were the case. And thankfully, it runs as expected, right? Also, as expected, the battery life on this device, it has 3,000 milliamp hour. This is the smaller of the two. The Plus has, I think, a 3,400 milliamp hour battery. And I mean, it's fine. It gets you through the day. It's not going to win any awards or blow you out of the water and be like, man, I've never had as good a battery life as I have with the Samsung Galaxy S9. But apparently there's some issues with the Exynos chips in the international versions of this that's really hampering the battery performance on these devices. So if you're getting an international version of this, you might have a different story than I did, but I feel like the battery performance on this with the Snapdragon processor was great. And then finally, the camera, I think, is the big topic. You know, it was certainly what Samsung made a big to-do about. It has, you know, the dynamic kind of mechanical aperture that changes between two settings based on the lighting performance. The first link that I have in the doc, Josh, is kind of some photo and video samples from my vacation to kind of give you a sense of the quality of some of the pictures. And I thought they were fine. You know, the good color. We've come to expect that Samsung has. Now this is the video, and I don't know Google Photos.
Did you get the fireworks?
Yeah, if you skip about halfway through, the fireworks start. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. All right, fireworks. I feel like it's looking a little chunky, and that might have something to do with Google Photos. Or maybe it's just that I'm watching it on a bigger screen for the first time, you know. But
well, there's a lot of color data in this right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. This light show was amazing at Disney World.
The castle
by the way.
projection is insane.
Yeah, it's insanity. Anyways, we watched it 2 different nights. We loved it. But anyway, so I took a number of photos while we were around. Some in challenging light environments. That was obviously a lot of light. This was, I can't remember which ride that was, but
that's Splash Mountain.
Is that Splash Mountain?
Yep, that's the
oh yeah, that is Splash Mountain. You're right. And then this was a really nice beach photo that I really liked. What was kind of cool is I took this and then Google auto-awesomed it and gave me a photo that ended up looking even better. I forgot to put it in there, but anyways, this is the actual picture from the camera. And I just got to say, like, in my experience taking pictures with this camera, that looks all right. I don't know, like it was fine. But what I quickly realized, because I was carrying around the Pixel 2 XL with me everywhere, is that I do side-by-sides, and I really kind of compare them. Had I thought ahead, I would have put some of those in the link and showed those two as well, and I forgot to do that. But my impression with the dynamic HDR that's going on in the Pixel 2 XL and just some of the other bells and whistles, the stabilization of video, more often than not, as the vacation went along, I stopped reaching for the S9 and I continued to reach for the Pixel 2 XL, and I was always really happy with what I saw out of it. So keep that in mind. It's not always, you know, it's a great camera, but in my opinion, the Pixel 2 XL camera beats it, and even with the dynamic aperture. Although slow motion capture is awesome. Check this out. This is a balloon filled with water hitting the ground. Isn't that awesome? I love it.
That's pretty cool.
I love it. It just flattens like a pancake. And, you know, just having that super fast. And this is another one. It explodes. So it's cool in a different way. But boosh. Cool creative uses with the super slow-mo. I don't know how often in your daily life you're going to turn it on and record something, but you find reasons to use it because you want to, because the effects are awesome. And then finally, AR emoji. I think that's what Samsung's calling it. And meh. I mean, you use it the first day or two because it's there and you're like, oh, I guess I got to check this thing out. And I did a bunch of stickers and stuff because that's, I guess, what you do. And then I quickly forgot about it. So yeah, the S9, it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic phone. I don't feel like in any way Samsung really dropped the ball or anything like that. I just think this is the third iteration of this device that's following this kind of design approach. And at this point, I'm kind of like wanting something a little new. You know what I mean? I'm kind of getting a little bored of the design.
This feels like the final iteration, the ultimate refinement on the Galaxy S6.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It feels like they've continued, and that's probably been exactly their plan, right? Like, don't change too many of the other things, really get it right and keep going. And you know, they have it's a great design to do that with. This design still is very beautiful, and when you look at the phone with the display on, it has that kind of nice infinity edge effect on the side. Apparently that's blinking a lot, looking for my iris, I think. You know, so
it's just such a shame that they missed the boat. I mean, look at that chin bezel, though. I don't even understand how you could use a phone like that. I mean, that chin bezel is just so ridiculous. What you need to do is like have almost no bezel and then cut into the display to have your webcam up on top. Obviously, that's the only way that you can make a phone.
What would you call that, though? That's really strange. That you would cut into the display.
Maybe like a bat ears or a unibrow. I don't know, something like that. But you'd want this is terrible. I don't even understand how could that even be immersive?
Yeah,
that
it's true.
Humongous bezel.
It's true. Terrible. That gigantic sliver. That's the biggest sliver I've ever seen now.
And I keep having to swallow vomit. I mean, it's just the worst thing that I think has ever happened to smartphones.
Okay, I think Juan is trolling at this point. I think maybe a little bit. Yeah, overall, it's a really great phone. Samsung has put out a great phone. I hope that with the Galaxy S10, and I mean it's the 10, so one would imagine that they have plans to kind of go big in a different direction, perhaps, and I would be welcoming that.
Do we think that there's gonna be something so revolutionary or radical to the glowing rectangle, what lives in our pocket for design? I kind of just want to see consistent pressure on this because I don't know that software has caught up to the insane computing power that now lives in these mobile devices. Like, I'm kind of okay with Samsung just continuing to refine. Maybe like a Note at the end of the year has under the screen sensors for fingerprint sensors and stuff like that. I don't know that we need to rock the boat too much with these devices, just kind of fulfilling what demand there is currently, and then waiting till we see what new services really do start to disrupt the current metaphor of using a glowing rectangle touch square get app.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the other side of it too. Like, why do I feel like they have to change things up? If it works and it's still beautiful and it does everything. You know, it checks all the boxes and everything. Like the need isn't necessarily there. I feel like I've used this phone I've reviewed this phone 3 separate years now.
Oh, you have?
It's so similar, you know? So maybe from a phone reviewer standpoint, I'm bored, but consumers are going to love this phone. And there's many, many reasons to, you know what I mean? It's well done. It's well made. So that's the Galaxy S9. My impressions anyways.